common sense. Still available in limited quantities.
It's July 1966. Our reading selection comes from Life magazine, July 8th. The coffee's hot, the evening news lasts just half an hour, and this week Life magazine has landed on the family coffee table. The cover asks a question that feels just as relevant today as it did nearly 60 years ago. The presidency. Inside, the article describes President Lyndon B. Johnson making decisions during the Vietnam War. It argues that leadership can't rely on heart and hope alone, but must also draw on experience, judgment, and the willingness to examine every side of an issue before acting. One detail really caught my attention. The article says Johnson would often make up his mind, then deliberately read the strongest arguments against his own position before making a final decision.
Imagine that.
Reading opinions you disagree with on purpose. Now that's vintage. The magazine also talks about pressure from allies, public opinion, military strategy, and a world changing faster than anyone seemed prepared for. If I cover up the date, you'd probably think it was written this morning. That's the fascinating part about collecting old magazines. They remind us that history doesn't always repeat itself, but it certainly rhymes. Different president, different headlines, different hairstyles, thankfully. But the same questions keep showing up. How do you lead during uncertain times? How do you make a difficult decision when every option has consequences? And how do you know history will judge those decisions fairly? The truth is, every generation believes it's living through the most divided, most uncertain chapter of history. Then 50 or 60 years pass. Someone discovers an old magazine at an antique store, smiles, and says they were worried about the same thing. Maybe that's why I enjoy collecting pieces just like this. Not because they tell us to think, but because they remind us to think and to slow down, to remember that people who came before us weren't characters in a history book. They were simply living